Hello, Mr. Trump. My name is Robin Messing. Do you remember what your friend Barbara Walters said after she heard your offer to give $5 million to any charity that Barack Obama wanted you to give the money to? All he had to do was come up with a few simple documents. His college application, his transcript, his passport application and any related documents, the transcript from his Magic 8-Ball, and his Super Secret Decoder Ring. Well, in case you've forgotten, let me give you a gentle reminder.
Donald, you're making a fool of yourself. Donald, you're not hurting Obama, you're hurting Donald, and that hurts me because you're a decent man. Stop it. Get off it, Donald.
Though what Barbara Walters said may have been true, it wasn't particularly helpful. She didn't explain very well why she thought you were being foolish or why she thought what you were doing was wrong. Well, I'm here to help you fill in the blanks. I'm here to tell you why it would have been both wrong and unnecessary for Obama to cough up his records. First, let me tell you why it was wrong. You made your offer because you hate Obama's lack of transparency. But we've seen him govern the past few years. We know his record and what he stands for. He's transparent where it counts. Based on his record of the last 4 years, we've got a pretty good idea of what he'll do during the next 4 years. We don't need to see his college transcript or his passport application in order to know who to vote for. More importantly, Obama would be setting a really bad precedent had he accepted your offer. Think of the message he would have sent had he accepted it. He would be saying that you or anyone else could influence the behavior of the President of the United States simply by offering to donate money to charity. Your offer was benign, but what if someone even richer than you came along and said, "I'll offer $500 million to feed hungry children if you veto this legislation," or "I'll donate $500 million to fight AIDS in Africa if you bomb Iran"? You aren't going to let those poor, innocent people in Africa die because they can't afford medication, are you? I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if either of these offers would be illegal. Of course, it'd be illegal if they were bribes directly to the president or if the offer was to contribute money to a PAC to support the president or his party. But I don't know whether it would be illegal to offer to contribute to a charity if the president does or doesn't do something. If there isn't such a law, there should be. In any case, I'm glad Obama turned down your offer. It sends a message that people shouldn't try to use charities as a vehicle to influence the behavior of the President of the United States. Now, I appreciate your desire to see more transparency by those who are running for office. But if you really wanted to increase transparency while donating money to charity, there's a better target for you to have chosen. One that did not affect the behavior of the sitting president. The voters know what Barack Obama stands for. They know how he'll govern, but they have no idea what Mitt Romney will do. We know that he intends to cut programs to balance the budget, but we've no idea what he'll cut and how much he'll cut them by. He's been asked time and time again, how can you cut taxes, increase defense spending, and balance the budget? How can you possibly do this without increasing our debt? The numbers don't seem to add up. And all Mitt Romney can say is, trust me, the math works. We don't know what he'll cut, but we do know that he'll cut FEMA. Here's what he said in June 2011.
FEMA's about to run out of money, and there are some people who say do it on a case-by-case basis, and some people who say, maybe we're learning a lesson here that the states should take on more of this role. How do you deal with something like that?
Absolutely. Every time you have an occasion to take something from the federal government and send it back to the states, that's the right direction. And if you can go even further and send it back to the private sector, that's even better.
Now tell me, how will a state like California, that's on the verge of bankruptcy, handle the inevitable earthquake that will hit if it can't get help from the federal government? And how will a state like New York, a state which is only slightly better off than California, handle a major disaster without help from FEMA? Oh wait, a disaster just happened, so this isn't just a theoretical question anymore. And when Hurricane Sandy hit, and Romney was asked about his pledge to cut FEMA, his plan to gut the program that could help New York and California, he pulled a full Emily Litella and said, "Never mind." I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, But a president can't act and then just say never mind if he doesn't like the outcome. If President Romney cuts taxes while increasing defense spending, and if the budget deficit explodes because of this, he can't just say never mind and expect the deficit to go away. If President Romney attacks Iran prematurely instead of giving sanctions a chance to work, and if he doesn't negotiate imaginatively to avoid war, and if the war goes badly for us, he can't just say, never mind, and expect it to be all better. And if President Romney guts FEMA, and if multiple states are overwhelmed by a major disaster, he can't just say, never mind, and expect the disaster to disappear by magic. That's why it would have been better had you offered to donate $5 million to a charity if Romney would reveal his budget. It would have been better had you asked Romney to tell the voters exactly what programs he would cut and how much he would cut them by. Or it would have been better had you offered $5 million for Romney to show evidence that he had made a statement before Sandy had hit that he never really meant to gut FEMA. So now I've explained why it would have been a bad idea for Obama to have accepted your offer, and I've shown you that you had a better target for your efforts to increase transparency. Now I'll explain why it was unnecessary for Obama to respond to your offer. President Obama didn't need to accept your offer because you're going to donate that money to charity anyway. You're going to donate the money despite the fact that he ignored you. You made a video expressing your disappointment that Obama didn't take you up on your offer and have the money donated to wounded warriors or the American Cancer Society or relatives of the victims of Benghazi. Well, you're going to donate $5 million to each of those organizations, and you're going to donate $5 million to the victims of Hurricane Sandy as well. And I'm going to tell you why you're going to do this. I'm going to tell you why you will do it, and I'll be doing you a favor by telling you how to make your bitterest enemy look like a fool in front of the entire world. I want you to go to YouTube and do a search on Lawrence O'Donnell versus Donald Trump. You'll find video after video after video of O'Donnell mercilessly mocking you and calling you a liar. He said you were lying when you said you were seriously considering a run for president. You said you were lying when you claimed to have hired a team of crack investigators to go to Hawaii to dig up the real story behind Obama's birth certificate. And most importantly, he said that you were lying about your net worth. He said that there was no way that you were a billionaire. Let me show you a few clips to remind you what he said. You claimed that NBC was paying you $60 million for The Apprentice, and he said that that was a bunch of malarkey. He said there's no way they were paying you that kind of money, that you were being paid maybe $2 million at most for the show. Then he said this.
Well, yeah, a couple of $1 million is a lot of money to most of us. But there is no billionaire who thinks a couple of $1 million is a lot of money. But Donald Trump does think the NBC money is a lot of money because he needs that money. He lives on that money. He couldn't live without his NBC paycheck, and he is explicitly telling you that. He is very clearly saying NBC is offering me what I think is a lot of money, an offer I couldn't refuse. I could not afford not to take it.
Wow, that was harsh. Wasn't enough to satisfy O'Donnell, though. A few months later, he was doubling down on his claim, and he was discussing your claim that you were worth $7 billion. Here's what he had to say.
Then, yesterday, suddenly, Donald Trump started tweeting me, which has given me the opportunity more than once now to ask him, to beg him, to tell me one thing I have said about him this year that is not true. One thing. And today, he finally came up with one, and only one. In response to Lawrence, my net worth is substantially more than $7 billion, very low debt, great assets. I have said that Donald is not a billionaire, but he valiantly tries to play one on a reality TV show, and he does that for a paycheck which he desperately needs to survive financially. There is no amount of money that a TV network could offer a billionaire, a real billionaire, to induce him or her to become a reality TV performer. And that is the only factual standoff that remains now between Donald Trump and me. He says he's a billionaire 7 times over. I say he's not. Now, the only thing that seems to bother him is saying that he lies about his wealth. He also tweeted this to me today. I heard, because his show is unwatchable, that Lawrence has made many false statements last night about me. Maybe I should sue him. That's awfully soft for Donald, isn't it? He doesn't usually sound like a maybe kind of guy. Maybe I should sue him. Donald Trump is never going to sue me for two reasons. First, he knows he could never prove that a single thing I've said about him is untrue. And second, and this is by far the most important one, Donald Trump will never sue me because I know his big secret, his biggest secret. And he knows that I know it. Donald Trump cannot afford to sue me, and he knows it.
And a few months later, he followed that up with this.
Among the many things that Trump lies about day in and day out is his modest wealth. He is, of course, not a billionaire. He simply plays one on TV. But that's just Donald being Donald, a reflexive liar in everything he says about everything.
Ooh, that was brutal. Are you going to sit back and take that? Are you going to take that, Mr. Trump? No, of course you're not. Not when you've got a golden opportunity to help people out while making him look like an idiot. You're going to make O'Donnell eat his words by following the example set by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. You're going to show off just how rich you are and change the world by donating vast sums of money to charity. If you're worth $7 billion, then you can easily, really easily donate $20 million to be split between the Wounded Warriors, the American Cancer Society, relatives of the victims of Benghazi, and victims of Hurricane Sandy. And if you really want to shut O'Donnell up, if you really want to make him crawl back under the rock from whence he came, you can join the dozens of wealthy individuals who have pledged to give the majority of their wealth to charitable organizations. You can join the ranks of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and T. Boone Pickens and Mark Zuckerberg by pledging to donate billions to charity over your lifetime. If you join the Giving Pledge movement and give away billions of dollars, then you'll make O'Donnell look like the biggest idiot since an executive at Decca Records rejected the Beatles and said the guitars were on their way out. Now, I don't know how you're going to take my message, Mr. Trump. You might thank me for showing you how to embarrass Lawrence O'Donnell, or you might call me a loser, as you called some of your previous adversaries, and you might have me investigated to see whether I'm working for the Obama campaign. Well, I can save you the time by telling you that I'm not associated with the Obama campaign, and I'll freely admit to being a nobody. In fact, I'm the nobodiest nobody in nobody land. I put forth a proposal that could help avoid a war with Iran by asking Israel to be more transparent, a goal I'm sure you'll appreciate, but it hasn't caught anyone's interest, so that makes me a nobody. I'm telling you this so you can spend less time investigating me and more time writing checks, though I really don't care if you have me investigated. You mentioned the families of the victims of Benghazi in your last video, but it'll look like you really don't care about them if you don't write them a big fat check. It'll look like you were using their names to cynically manipulate voter sympathy against Obama if you don't write them a check. You're going to write them a check, and you're going to write a check to each and every one of the other charities that I mentioned, because you don't want people to wonder why you're sitting on $7 billion without doing anything to help. You're going to write them that check because if you don't, then everybody, and I mean everybody, will think that the name Trump stands for truly repulsive, unctuous, manipulative prick. Thank you for your time.